Assalamu alaikum,
Alaikum
brother.
salam.
Yeah, yes, sir. Peace to the
Peace,
God.
peace.
Yeah, but brother Ben, he was just telling me to hit you up, you know what I'm saying? Because he said that our histories is kind of like similar in the sense that, getting knowledge of self with the 5 percenters and,
Okay.
being drawn to the Nation of Islam and then learning the Arabic, language, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, I definitely got to hit the brother up, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. But what's your name? Just give your name or attribute or whatever, just
My
so
name is Brother Edward X. Brother Edward. That's it.
brother Edward X.
Yes, sir.
True indeed, true indeed. How long you been in the nation?
Um, when I was in prison,
Mhm.
I was in prison serving a 15 to 80-year sentence, and I went to prison in 1991. I
Right.
was charged as an adult,
Mhm.
and when I was 19 to 1993, I was a brother was in the
Mhm.
nation of gods and earth, and he
Okay.
was talking about the black man is God, and I challenged him, and he
Right.
was like the smartest brother I had ever met in my life. And
When you
so when
say
I
when you say you challenged them, what was your faith or your religion at the time? What were you?
I was a Negro, that was my
Oh,
religion. I was a
okay,
Negro,
good.
and when I challenged him, he said, "I said if you God, let me see you walk through the wall." And he said, "Well, is God everything right and exact?" So I'm like, "Yeah, God, everything right and exact. That makes sense." He said, "It's not right for me to walk through no wall." It killed me, and he killed me. It was so simple, and
Wow.
he had me thinking about that all night long.
Yeah, and no limited time, huh?
And as I thought about that all night long, then he was the first brother that I ever heard spit the actual facts.
Okay.
The sun is 93 million miles from the earth, and he just knew. He was so smart,
Yeah,
and I was so impressed. But
yeah.
my initial embrace was I wanted to use it to write females.
Right, right.
I wanted to. That was some good game for me. So
Smooth talking.
right.
Yeah.
So then I had I wrote my father. My father was also in prison, and my
Okay.
father accepted Islam in 1965 under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And
Okay.
so with 1975, with the departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
Mm,
my father, like so many others, went back to the streets.
right, right,
And so in 1980, he was arrested.
right,
And so I wrote him a letter and said, the black man is God, and
right, right.
I'm a 5%er.
Yeah,
And then he asked me, he said, who gave Clarence 13X his ex?
right,
And I'm like, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But I had a negative view of the
right.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes,
I had a
sir.
negative view, and then I
Yeah,
felt that the Nation of Islam had killed Malcolm X.
right,
So that
right,
was one of my issues.
right.
And this was in '93, so I had the Malcolm X movie came out like '92. So I
Right,
saw it in prison,
right,
and so I had a disdain for the Nation of Islam, and I had
right,
a disdain for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
right.
And through my father's correspondence, he was challenging me in a way that this was like the first time we ever clashed. Like he was treating me like I'm not even his son. And he made me look deeper. And then I told my cousin I started going to the Nation of Islam meetings.
Right.
And when I started going to the Nation of Islam meetings, the brothers I was in Lorton prison, and
Okay.
all of the FOI in Lorton were locked up for first-degree murder.
Wow.
So you knew they weren't in it for protection.
Right, right, right,
And I
right,
had this thing, I'd never be a Muslim because they join that in jail because they need protection, and I don't
right,
need no protection. And
right,
so in Lorton,
right,
you couldn't say that about them
right.
because those were the killers.
Yeah,
And so they walked around with white shirt, bow tie,
yeah, yeah.
yes sir, no sir. And I couldn't get with the yes sir, no sir because, you know, the way we grow up, that's like being soft.
Right, right, right.
And people will kind of see that as a chink in your armor.
Yes, sir.
But the
Yeah.
FOI was so strong.
Mm-hmm.
They were so strong in Lorton that that was attractive.
Right, right.
And it was a brother that we had a street beef.
Mm-hmm.
Two of my homies had got killed, and
Mm-hmm.
this particular brother, was present for both homicides. He wasn't the trigger man, but he was
He was
with it.
there.
He was
Yeah.
there, and he had joined the nation.
Right.
And so when I saw him, he came to me, he had on a shirt and bow tie, and he was like, "You need to talk to me." He the first brother that I heard say the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's the first
Right.
person I ever heard say that.
Right.
And he
Right.
said, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan does not want us killing each other.
Right.
And he was like, we black. He said, you know I'm not scared of you.
Right.
And I know you're not scared of me.
Right.
But we black and we shouldn't be killing each other and we shouldn't be beefing.
Yeah.
And he floored me with that. Because he was a brother that I knew he was a trigger man. I knew
Right.
he
Right.
played with pistols.
Right.
And I knew he wasn't scared of me.
Right.
And for him to take that humble approach,
Right. Right. Right.
he was
Right.
like the first man that I had ever seen in my life that I respected. And
Wow.
so that attracted me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started going to the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And at 19 years old, I
Mm-hmm.
knew about slavery. This
Right.
might sound crazy. This might sound crazy right here, what I'm about to
Right.
say. I knew about slavery, but
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that's how we got in America. I thought
Mm-hmm.
those were some Africans. You know, the Africans were enslaved, and
Right.
and I just never connected the dots.
Because we look a little different or whatever.
Right. I just never connected
Those
the
are some
dots.
different type of black people.
Right. And
No,
so
but I thought that similar, what I'm saying, pretty much same thing. Yeah, like,
and
our,
so
our minds was all screwed up.
and so when I went to the Nation of Islam meeting, and a brother named Raymond X,
Mm-hmm.
he was up there talking on the podium,
Mm-hmm.
and when he talked, he made my whole side of my body catch the chills. I never heard nobody talk like this in my life.
Yeah.
And he was an inmate, and he was talking so strong. So the first thing I said, he trying to recruit an army because he want to break out of prison.
Yeah.
He got 100,000 years. He want
Yeah.
to break out of prison. He want to break out of prison, and he gonna try to get us all hyped up, and so we can support his cause. And we're gonna break him out. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I always said I would never join. I would never be a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept on going to the meetings.
Right. Right.
And after the meetings were over, you know how you have those like conversations. Like, what do you think about what he was saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had those conversations with some hardcore killers,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone was humble. They was just like,
Right.
man, I feel like a fool. I feel like an Uncle Tom. We was out here robbing black people,
Right.
shooting
Right.
black people, doing all the manner of evil to black people.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me.
Yeah.
And then I said, I think I'm gonna join the nation.
Yeah.
And so in 1993, I accepted the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
93. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Mine was like 2 years later, 95, late 94, early 95, in Richmond, Virginia. So you were in what state was this?
Lorton, Virginia.
Lorton, Virginia? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Lorton, Virginia. Wow. Man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's. I mean, I remember the brothers when I was in Richmond, Virginia. Those brothers had some years too. That was in the nation. Federal prison as well. But yeah, brothers had some years. And you know, when you said that, it resonated with me because I seen brothers like that, and it's like you could just tell, like it was just something different about them, and it made you look at it like, wow, this is something
Right,
really weird going on, because like I know this dude is he's a real killer, like
right,
he's just like right now, like his personality, his you know what I'm saying, everything is just different about him. And yes sir, no
when I went
sir.
when I went to Atlanta Federal Penitentiary in 1994.
USP, Atlanta USP.
Yep.
Oh,
In
okay.
1994, I went to
I was
Atlanta.
in there 2004.
Okay, I
Yeah,
went to Atlanta in 1994. They used to
yeah.
call me Lil Farrakhan. And
Okay.
and when I went to Atlanta, this was like the first time that I saw the nation, the brothers in the penitentiary. They was like controlling the yard.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had the respect of the yard.
yeah,
People came to the nation for advice. Um, People confided in the nation. The police respected the nation. Um,
yeah.
so when I got to Atlanta, and I had already accepted Islam in Lorton. So when I got there
Mm,
and fell in the ranks, it
mm.
was the brother who was acting as the minister, brother Ricky X. This
Okay.
brother was like Minister Farrakhan in the penitentiary. He had security when he
Yeah,
walked. He had security walking with him.
yeah,
Um, if you walked up to talk to him, there's two brothers on you, like, "What's up?"
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, and he had the love and support of the compound. They had
yeah.
like 40 brothers, and so I was young. I was 19
Wow.
years old. I
Wow,
was,
that's a lot. It
right,
was 40 FOI, 40 brothers in the
active,
Nation of Islam?
standing up.
Man.
And when they say go fish, every meeting was packed. Every meeting was standing room only.
Yeah,
Every single meeting.
yeah, yeah.
And as a young brother, brother Ricky knew my father
Right,
because they went. My father was in Lewisburg,
right.
Pennsylvania, and
Okay.
so they had knew each other. So Ricky had told me about my life when I started getting in trouble when I was a juvenile because he was
Mhm.
in the nation with my father, and my father was the minister in Lewisburg.
Okay.
So he
Wow.
was telling me that yeah, I know your sister. I remember when she got pregnant. He was telling me about our whole family
Hmm.
history,
Hmm.
and so he took a special interest in me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so he gave me a cassette player, and he gave
Hmm.
me like 30 audio tapes of Minister Farrakhan and
Yeah,
Dr. Khalid Muhammad.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I used to listen to that every single day,
Yeah.
every single day. And I had a part in my head with waves going to the sky. I wanted to be like Minister Farrakhan, and
Oh man.
people started calling me Lord Farrakhan.
Little fuck.
And so from 1993 to 1998, I was in Atlanta. Then
Mm,
from 1998 to 2004, I was in Florence, Colorado.
okay, okay.
From 2004 to 2007, I
Hmm.
was in Lee County.
Right.
And from
And when you said Florence, Colorado, you talking about out there,
the
you were
USC,
saying you
yeah,
not the okay, because I know they got the Supermax out there. Is that Florence, Colorado?
that's Florence, Colorado.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The ADX, I think it
ADX,
is.
right.
Yeah.
So when I was in Florence, Colorado, it was so racist. It was so racist
I could imagine.
there. And I was like public enemy number one because everybody called me Farrakhan.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but to my surprise, being popular, the
Hmm.
Aryan Brotherhood and the skinheads and the dirty white boys and the neo
Hmm.
Nazis, they all
Hmm.
like me.
Right, right.
They all we used to exchange books and everything, and people were like, "Why you keep talking to them crackers?" And
Yeah,
we had something a common interest. They didn't want to be around us, and I didn't want to be around them.
right,
And
right.
they believed that we should be separated, and I believed the same thing. And so there was a mutual respect.
It was respect. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
People don't
but
understand that.
like
People
when
don't understand.
we would have conversations,
Mhm.
and one of the skinheads, he had his books in crates. He used to call it the hate crate. And he said, "Come get something out the hate crate." And he used to
No.
let me read all these books about the Jewish media control. And
Mhm.
I was like, wow, these people almost believe in the same thing I believe in. And it was a brother who was in Atlanta Penitentiary with me. His name was Brother Anthony X back then, but now his name is Bari Muhammad.
Okay.
He wrote me a letter, and he said, "Brother, I'm in a mosque." Well,
Hmm.
anyway, when we was in, I gotta go back. When we was in Atlanta Penitentiary,
Hmm.
me and him didn't really get along.
Right.
And I told him if I ever see you on the street and you don't have a suit and bow tie on, I'm gonna punch you in your face. Because he was like a fanatic Muslim.
Right.
And I said, man, most fanatic Muslims like that never go to the mosque when they get out. They
Yeah.
never are active. They never contribute to the community. And so I had him pegged as one of those brothers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I said, if I see you and you don't have a suit and bow tie on, we're gonna be beefing. And
Yeah.
so when I was in Florence, Colorado, he wrote me a letter
Mm-hmm.
and he sent me a picture.
Right.
He said, man, I never forgot you said you're gonna beat me up if I ain't got no suit and bow tie. He said, your brother is active in the mosque.
Wow.
And
Praise
he
be to
said,
God.
he said, man, make sure you learn all that you can learn. He
Yeah.
said, learn Arabic, learn how to make prayer. He said, because you will be surprised at how much these brothers on the street don't know.
Yeah. 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 Where did you learn Arabic at? While you were in prison or when you got out?
When I got out,
Oh, okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
learned Arabic about 7, 8 years ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
so I came home from prison in 2009. I got released from McQuarrie, Kentucky,
Okay.
USP McQuarrie. And when I came home, I came to the mosque,
Hmm.
mosque number 4.
Right.
While I was in the halfway house, I went, they let you out on the weekend pass. I went
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
mosque that Sunday and I met Minister Kadir, student
Okay.
minister Abdul Kadir Muhammad. And I told him I
Okay.
just did 18 years.
Wow. You
And
did
he,
18. You did 18.
1991 to 2009. And
Man, you did a stretch.
so when
I
I
was I
came,
was I was only going for like a little 5.5 years. I didn't even, only spots I was at was like I was at Lewisburg, but that's like a transitory,
right,
unit anyway. But I was at Lewisburg for a minute, then they moved me up to uh F FCI Loretto.
okay,
That's where I did the majority of my bid in Loretto. You know what I'm
okay,
saying? When I, joined into the nation and everything. But then from there, they shipped me back down south, and
okay,
I stopped at US Atlanta USP. But I was in the back in the camp because my point system went down or whatever.
okay,
So yeah, you catch shots and shit. Your points be up there,
right.
but your points go down due to bidding, and once it go down, then you can, camp status. So I'm
That's
at
what
the camp.
I
Yeah,
was trying to get there.
FPC Atlanta. And first time I ever seen a cell phone. I mean, not a cell phone, but a camera phone was at FPC Atlanta in 2005. First time I ever seen a camera phone. I was like, wow, dudes got phones in there. They got
Right.
everything. Yeah. Wow. But 18 years,
Yeah.
man.
I got charged as an adult. My actual crime happened when I was 16 years old in 1990. And I got caught in 1991 when I was 17. And I was charged as an adult. So I went in at 17, came home at 35. When I went to the mosque, I registered, got my ex. I was in the ministry,
Mhm.
got in the ministry. I started the Black Studies class at DC. I was the
Okay.
facilitator of the Black Studies class.
Okay.
Um, and I was just very active in the community, very active in the mosque, very active. And
Mhm.
then it was a brother named Mark Muhammad.
Right.
This was about 7 or 8 years ago. We were together. He was in the NOISA, the Nation
Mhm.
of Islam Student Association of Howard University.
Oh, okay.
And I went up there with him one day, and Dr. Abdul Ali Muhammad was coordinating the classes up there. And while I
Mhm.
was in class, we left. Brother Mark said something to me in Arabic. And so I said, you know Arabic? And he was like, yes, sir.
Mhm.
And I said, who taught you Arabic? He said, I
Mhm.
taught myself. And I said, how do you teach yourself Arabic? He said, the black man is God. Killed me, brother. He killed me. When he said that, I recently, about a month or two ago, I talked to Brother Mark and
Mhm.
told him, because he had no idea that he is the
Right.
reason that I started studying Arabic.
Right. Right.
This
Wow.
brother, his swag was on 1,000. The way he talked, it's like he invented the Arabic language.
For real.
His
Probably.
swag. And I was just like, brother, you know Arabic? He was like, yes, sir. And so From that moment, I went on YouTube. I said, how do you learn Arabic?
Yeah, and it's a
I,
lot of videos out there too that teach really, really well.
right. So I started learning the alphabet.
Right.
And when I started learning the alphabet, I had no teacher. I had nobody to grab me by the hand. I had nobody to kind of promote me to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I started learning. It was a brother named Akbar Sharif Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
He out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
May Allah be pleased when he passed.
Mm-hmm.
This brother, he knew like Arabic, Hebrew, Greek, Latin, and
Wow.
he always encouraged me. He always encouraged me. And we had a Facebook relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So then we'd see each other at Savior's Day or the
Mm-hmm.
Day of Atonement. And
Mm-hmm.
we'd act like we were homies off the block, like we knew each other 100 years. And
Mm-hmm.
this brother was like so smart
Mm-hmm.
and he was so humble. His humility killed me. Like
Yeah.
every time I give him some props, he would say, I'm just your brother. That was
Yeah.
like his favorite saying, I'm just your brother.
Yeah.
And I took a page out of his playbook.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the brother suddenly just passed, I was
Mm-hmm.
crushed because he was writing the Qur'an.
Wow.
He was writing the Qur'an. And he inspired me, like, you know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Mm-hmm.
He inspires us all, right?
Right.
But on an individual level, to see
Mm-hmm.
somebody that can actually carry out, you read about the 24 scientists, you read
Mm-hmm.
about the great Mahdi, you read about the dear holy apostle, right? But
Mm-hmm.
to see somebody that you know and you can interact with,
Right.
and they on that same level,
Right.
and
Right.
they evolving. This brother impacted me, and he used to always tell me the relationship between Arabic and Hebrew,
Right. Right.
and
Yeah.
so then I started studying Hebrew
Yeah.
when I was able to read and write Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
Today I can read and write 7 languages,
Wow.
but I attribute that to brother Akbar Sharif Muhammad.
Right.
Like
Right.
all of my evolution, none of it is mine. Like it was nothing that was me. It was
Mm-hmm.
always a brother that
Right.
inspired me or showed me something.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like 3 brothers that I attribute my development to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
personally, as far as the language.
Right.
Brother Mark
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad, Brother Akbar Sharif Muhammad, and Dr. Wesley Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Wesley Muhammad showed me that he showed the intellectuality of Islam. Like
Yeah.
you could be brilliant, you could be smart,
Right.
and still
Right.
be a Muslim. Because you know people have
Right.
Muslims as you're a robot. I know what you're gonna say before I even ask you the question.
Yeah.
All your words are scripted.
Mm-hmm.
So Wesley, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, he showed me how to be a critical thinker and an analytical thinker, like as a Muslim.
Right.
And that's my story in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Minister Farrakhan, just as a whole, just as far as just how to be intellectual, not only just intellectual, but a more spiritual side.
But the minister is like the minister. Well, I've always had him like so high up here.
Right.
These are people that's like on your level where
Right.
you can more so relate to him. The minister is the man of God, so
Right.
of course he the man of
Yeah.
God. So
Yeah. 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 I mean, because listening to, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, like when you said the brother gave you, like a bag of tapes, and, cassette tapes to go listening to. And, you brought back memories because I remember, again, when I first got knowledge of self, with the Nation of Gods and Earths, as I began merging more towards Nation of Islam, you know, the FOI brothers was bombing me, like I had no defense, so, I'm trying to use whatever little, and all I could do was just quote the lessons. I really didn't know what it meant. I didn't have no understanding of it.
right.
I didn't know what the messenger said concerning that. So you know, it's almost like a child, you know, trying to speak an adult language.
Right.
You know, these brothers is high scientists
Right.
talking 24 scientists, 12 major, 12 minor, and you
Right.
know, and I'm like, you know, I'm trying to keep up.
Right.
But the brother used to give me like little tapes with not only Minister Farrakhan, but other, you know, astute ministers in the Nation of Islam. And I would listen to him, but primarily, you know, Minister Farrakhan lectures. And man, you know, like I remember the brother asked me one day, he said the majority of the people who disagree with, you know, Minister Farrakhan, I bet you they haven't even watched 2 of his lectures.
That's
They haven't
true.
even sat down and watched two, I think he said 2 or 3 of his lectures. That's it. You know, but once you begin studying, like, man, I must have watched about 50 to 100. And then when I was in federal prison up in FC Alvarado, you know, we had like in the chapel, we had like a little area where we can go, and the chaplain had like the little VCR things where we
Mm-hmm.
could, and it was all Nation of Islam video. But I mean, I watched other videos like with Sunni Muslims, I would watch their videos and just different ones, but mostly all of the one that we had in the Nation and our archive, I watched all of them. And that had to be at least about a good 50 to 60 different videos, you know. So, you know, the hunger is there, you know, when it grows and it grows and it grows. But Minister Farrakhan just intellectually, I think, not only spiritually, but intellectually as well, has raised up the nation to a level of, you know, when the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was around, when the messenger was around, it was mostly faith.
Right.
You know, brothers had deep faith,
Right.
but a lot of stuff they didn't really understand, you know, in the supreme wisdom.
Right.
Whereas today, with the advent of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, brothers is really, you know, breaking down some high science.
When I was in Atlanta Penitentiary, in about 1997,
Mm-hmm.
they had so many they had VHS tapes back then.
Right.
And I watched every VHS tape that they had. I listened to
Yeah.
every audio tape that
Yeah.
they had.
Yeah.
And I studied the minister so much back then. Brother, you could put on a tape and play it for 30 seconds.
I'll be
You could
quoting
cut
it.
the tape off. Once you play it for 30 seconds, let me hear him say one thing. I could just listen to the crowd
Yeah.
response. I could tell you what color suit he had on. I could
Yeah.
tell you the name of the tape. I could tell you what city it was in. I could give you
Yeah.
the year.
Yeah. I would literally quote. I knew,
Right,
you know,
right.
like, yeah.
And so, of course, the minister, those years, today I can look back, and because a lot of times, if I speak or do an interview or engage somebody, they attribute saying I'm smart, and
Right.
now I kind of am used to people saying that.
Right.
But back then,
Mm-hmm.
everything it came from the minister. I would hear the minister talk about international bankers. I
Right.
never knew what no international banker was. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would go, they had a book called None Dare Call It Conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Go read the books, and when the minister quoted scripture, I wanted to know. I didn't want to just quote the minister.
Right.
I
Right.
wanted to
Right.
really know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
really have what I would call today that Farrakhan swag. The minister
Right.
can talk
Right.
about
Right.
any topic. Like you could put the minister in the church, he gonna make all the people stand up. You could put him in the masjid, he gonna make everybody in say Allahu Akbar. You could put him around black nationalists, every black power. He just know how to cover all bases. And so studying the minister, he made me a man. Like he made me a man. And when I first came home in 2009, I went to
Mm-hmm.
Savior's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Savior's Day 2010. That was my
Mm-hmm.
first Savior's Day.
Okay.
And when I saw the minister, it was like a person had done 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my dreams was to
Mm-hmm.
see the minister in real life, to see the
Mm-hmm.
minister. And when I saw the minister, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I was just elated. And I was writing brothers in the prison, like, man, I saw the minister. But then being active in the mosque number 4,
Mm-hmm.
I like shook the minister hand, been on the minister door,
Right.
been on the detail with his wife, had dinner with his wife like 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I've had some experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the minister say something about Muammar Gaddafi
Mm-hmm.
and Muammar Gaddafi's son.
Mm-hmm.
Everything the minister said
Mm-hmm.
came true. He said they was gonna kill Gaddafi's son,
Yeah.
and they was
Yeah.
gonna kill Gaddafi. And he
Mm-hmm.
said it's a sign of what they want to do to the supreme captain and him. So when I heard the minister say that, I was like right there when he wasn't talking to me now. I don't want you to think he was
Mm-hmm.
talking. He wasn't talking to
Right.
me, but
Right.
it was in my earshot.
Yeah. Yeah. It
And
resonated.
and when I heard that, I was like, the minister prophesying,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's like bold to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when it actually happened, the day Gaddafi got killed,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the day Gaddafi got killed, I was telling everybody, man, I heard the minister say, like, it happened just like he said it was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at that time, I wasn't questioning the minister anyway, because he had, he shot enough 3-pointers for me to believe he can play the game. So I wasn't
Yes,
questioning him,
sir.
but I
Yes,
was
sir.
just amazed and mesmerized by like his divinity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. 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 It's like scripturally, it kind of reminds you of the story of Elijah and Elisha
right,
in the scriptures,
right.
and how one was, Elijah was more of a, force, more militant, more, whereas Elisha was more, like Minister Farrakhan, not I don't want to use the word passive, but just so
Spiritual.
humble, just so, like his own people could talk about him and he would never say nothing about black people. Never. And that's something that, like coming from the streets, like with us or whatever, like we got to really learn to control, like our emotions, our tempers, but just
When I was
watching the minister, it's like you see in Jesus, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of humility. It's like Christ like humility. You know what I'm saying?
as a student of history, right, I used to ask my father, because my
Mm,
father's still in prison. He's been in prison 41 years. And I asked my father, what's the difference between the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? And
mm,
he said the difference is
mm.
today you got a lot of people born in the nation and they went to college and they don't have no real struggle.
Right.
Like I used to be a dope fiend. I used to be a pimp. I used to be that. They don't have those type of. And
Right.
he
Right.
said back then you had bank robbers, killers, cutthroats, and if you say something about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they ready to see you. Who you think you talking to?
Yeah. Yeah.
As
Yeah.
opposed to
Yeah.
today, where you want to win them over, with he a black man, that's our brother. Woo, woo, woo.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
so I always felt like I ain't want to break ranks and do
Right.
something to make the nation look bad.
Right.
But in DC,
Mm-hmm.
you're not saying nothing bad about the minister.
Right.
Period. So I
Yeah.
always looked at it. And one day I was telling brothers, I'll get put out. I'll take an L. I'll
Right.
take it on, put me out. If you
Right.
say something about the minister in
Right.
DC,
Yeah.
right now in Washington, D.C., it's a no-fly zone for young Pharaoh and
Yeah.
SETI from Brother Elwood. No, I'm like, that still exists. It's a no, they can't come to
Yeah.
D.C.
Yeah. This
Young Pharaoh
different.
can never come to D.C. as long as Brother Elwood is alive and free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, SETI can never come to D.C. as long as Brother Elwood is alive and free. The irritated genie, he spoke in my class 3 times. He spoke
Mhm,
in the Black Studies class 3 times, and we had a strong, good relationship.
mhm.
And we had
He
some
said
dialogue.
something. He said something about the minister too.
He got videos dissing the minister, saying the minister support homosexuality.
Stop playing.
Yeah, so me and him had some conversations, like, and then one time I just made a video like, So they had the council of elders in DC, and Irritated Genie reached out to me, and they was like, if anything happened to him or his family, Brother Edward got the beef. I don't care nothing about that. Edward, I'm bringing the
Wow,
beef. So
that's crazy.
and so I had some conversations with some brothers, and they was like,
Mm-hmm.
you think you in tune with the minister, brother? This is my logic. I'm a soldier that when somebody throw a grenade, I'm gonna
Yeah,
jump on the grenade so my
yeah,
platoon can live. I'm
yeah,
gonna take the L. I'm gonna jump on the grenade. Whatever comes from me jumping on that
yeah,
grenade, my
yeah,
platoon is gonna live.
yeah.
But you're not gonna talk about the minister.
Right, 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 right,
Like I'm not going for that. And I think in DC, I kind of brought some balance by God's grace and ordination. Kind of brought some balance to those type of situations
right,
because people know my history.
right, right,
And I went to jail. I didn't go to jail for drugs.
right, right, right,
So
right.
having that type of history,
Yeah,
sometimes that kind of work for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
'Cause
yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Like SETI and Young Pharaoh, them dudes is I don't know.
like,
Super clowns, man. You know.
but our people, our community, brother. How do you respect a drug dealer
Hmm.
or a gangster?
Hmm.
You respect them. The reason
Hmm.
why you respect them because you know the consequences.
Right, right.
But in your mind, there are no consequences for
Hmm.
attacking the man of God.
Right, right.
There are
Mm.
no consequences for you.
Good point. Yeah.
But you won't attack the drug dealer. You won't
Right, right,
attack the gangbanger. Because in your
right,
mind, if you do that, you know what they're going to do.
right.
No, bruh. It's the same thing. The full wrath of God is coming down
Yeah,
on you.
yeah,
You
yeah,
call on your God, and I'm going to call on my God, and we're going to see who got the real God.
yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, the drug dealer or the whatever other person, they not trying to die. Whereas the believer or the Muslim,
Right.
he'll kill himself if need be, just
Brother,
to
let me tell you
do
something.
what needs to be done. Just to kill you, I'll have to kill you.
There's a brother in penitentiary. I was in Florence, Colorado. A brother named
Mm,
Cookie Hazel.
mm,
Cookie Hazel, they used to call me Farrakhan. He said,
mm,
Farrakhan, look at these niggas. He said, man, it's two type of acts that get you in
mm,
prison.
mm,
He said, something against black people, that's a crime. If you do
mm,
it against black people, that's a crime.
mm,
But if you do it for the movement, that's a revolutionary act. He said, how many people in here locked up for revolutionary acts?
mm.
And how many people in locked up for a crime? And
Wow.
I never forgot that. So in my mind, my logic, nothing would please me better than to be
Mhm.
walking the yard and say, damn, that man that he killed all the people talking about Farrakhan. There you go,
Yeah.
right there. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Versus, some old drug dealer or something
Right.
like that.
We
Killing your
used
own
to,
community.
he stepped on my shoes in the club. No.
Oh man.
So
Yeah.
that has always been my logic, and that like I pride myself like I'm not no fanatic with the
Mhm.
word.
Right.
I'm a fanatic with I see the minister as a light for our community, a light for our people.
Yeah, yeah,
And as he OG, he
yeah,
done put work in since 1955. Now, I'm not one of those brothers that if you disagree with the minister on this point or that point, I make you say you're not a member of the black nation no more. That's
yeah.
not me.
Right.
But the minister has put enough work in. He
Hmm.
has enough work. He's established institutions in our community that will
Hmm.
make, even if you disagree with him, shut your mouth.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
Disagree in silence.
yeah,
He
yeah.
don't, he doesn't deserve you to try to be a clout chaser off him.
Right, right.
That's not cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say I told I was talking to this was some brothers a couple years back, and they were 5%ers, and I was like, Minister Farrakhan is like what the father, to the youth back then in the 1960s, what he was to them, and that's Minister Farrakhan today. I mean, really, ever since the 80s. Look at the
Absolutely.
rappers back in the days. Like, how many people mention Farrakhan in songs, rap songs? Like, I mean,
And he consistent, brother.
he's
He
consistent.
consistent. His consistency, like, I haven't been active in the mosque in probably like a year and a half or 2 years.
Mm,
And I grew my beard.
mm,
One day I didn't shave. And
Right.
everybody said, man, that beard fits you. And so I was like, really? So
Yeah.
and I kept it. And
They can't call you Little Farrakhan no more.
but people started saying, is Edward a Sunni Muslim?
Yeah.
Edward went Sunni, and
Yeah.
um, that's offensive, but
Yeah.
my commitment is unwavering.
Right.
And so
Right.
then, when I started learning Arabic,
Mm-hmm.
studying Arabic, and studying Hebrew,
Mm-hmm.
I began to read the scriptures,
Mm-hmm.
and I began to see the supreme wisdom
Mm-hmm.
more clearly
Mm-hmm.
in the original languages than it actually is in the lessons. Like if you read the Qur'an in Arabic, you begin to see, wow. And it made me question myself. It made me say, was I a hypocrite? Because how am I so amazed by the depth and breadth if I always believed it anyway? If I
Right.
was a
Right.
believer anyway in
Right.
English, why am I so amazed
Right. Right.
by
Right.
it in Arabic?
Yeah, yeah, it should be no surprise. I mean, that's the thing. I remember when I was in prison too, in federal prison, a lot of them brothers, again, I'm up there in Pennsylvania, up there in Loretto, Pennsylvania, mostly like cats from Bmore, Philly, DC area, a lot of, y'all brothers is up in there, the DMV area.
Right,
And a lot of them dudes was like Sunni Muslims. And that was like one of the things that they would always try to hit us with, brothers in the nation or just any student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They'll be like, oh yeah, see, well, you reading it in English, the Quran, you know, everybody, any Muslim will tell you that's not the real Quran. The real Quran is
right,
Arabic. And then, like if once you understand the Arabic, brother, then, come over to the real Islam. Put that Elijah Muhammad.
right.
So really what it caused me to do was I gotta learn the Arabic because what I'm saying, maybe it is something over there that, Elijah Muhammad,
Right,
because after all, Elijah Muhammad didn't know
right,
Arabic. You know what I'm saying? He was taught by an Arab, but he didn't know Arabic. So yeah,
right.
maybe they're right. But then when I learned the Arabic and started reading the Quran I'm like, it only bared more witness to what
Man,
Elijah Muhammad was saying.
brother, brother. Listen, I teach Arabic. Most of my
Right,
clients are Sunni Muslims.
right.
In fact, a brother called me like 3 days ago
Mm-hmm.
and said, he said, brother, you've been in Mecca, I've been to Dubai. I
Mm-hmm.
know international Muslims all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I know most of the top imams in the United States. He
Mm-hmm.
said, brother, I don't know anyone that has a
Mm-hmm.
command on the Arabic grammar like you.
That's crazy. Wait a minute. You said so you taught yourself.
Yes, sir.
Wow. I mean,
Yes,
I had
sir.
I had, I had a teacher, my teacher, brother Ali, he was from Syria, Lebanon, Syria, and he was a ustas, up there, and
You see my board?
okay, 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 Glover. Yeah, and that's what you put like give classes and stuff. You teach
Yes,
like
sir.
okay, okay. Yeah, the brother when he started me off, he was like, he was like, Fahiym, I'm gonna teach you just like we teach the Lebanese children in my country, essentials of Quranic Arabic. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I read the classical text Al Adrumiyah,
Mm-hmm.
Al Kitab,
Okay.
Al Alafiyah. So
Mm-hmm.
those three classical texts dealing with
Right.
Nahu,
Right.
grammar, and I studied Sarf, morphology.
Right.
So there are 78,000 words in the Quran. I know about 60,000.
Mm.
I'm not a
Okay.
Hafiz, but I'm
Right.
on my way, inshallah. I'm on
Right.
my way to that. But
Right.
so in my study,
Mm-hmm.
I've always been amazed and mesmerized by, like, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You
Mm-hmm.
couldn't be that smart to make
Right.
something up that accurate. Like, how can you make something up and it be that accurate?
Yeah. 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 I mean, it only goes to show and prove who his teacher was. His teacher
Right.
was who he said it was. Allah.
Like, I was telling somebody, I never read anything in Arabic
Mm-hmm.
that would make me believe in this mystery God.
Mm-hmm.
Me studying Nahu grammar,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at Allah, all of the constructs of Allah in the Quran is
Mm-hmm.
masculine singular. It's a
Mm-hmm.
man.
Right, right, right.
If you deal with straight linguistics and not theology,
Mm-hmm.
and you match linguistics with the supreme wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna pair. It's gonna be symmetrical, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that right there just affirmed all of the things that I had been taught. And then when I
Right.
started studying Hebrew
Mm-hmm.
and reading the original text, in fact, I just completed a book like 2 or 3 days ago called Introduction to Paleo Hebrew.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
it made me look that this might sound arrogant and condescending, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
mean it that way. I say it with
Yeah.
the deepest humility,
Yeah.
but it might come off arrogant and condescending.
Yeah.
By knowing and studying Paleo Hebrew and
Mm-hmm.
Biblical Hebrew,
Mm-hmm.
it made me say that a pastor ain't got a chance with me. If he doesn't know Paleo Hebrew and
Yeah.
Biblical Hebrew, he
Right.
doesn't have a chance
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
having a conversation with me about the scriptures.
Yeah, and the thing about Hebrew, Hebrew and Arabia, it's like the sister languages. So I know my ustas told me, he was like, you learn one, pretty much it's almost like English and Spanish.
Right,
The words are so similar.
right,
You know, you see the word rapid in English, it means something fast or whatever. In Spanish, rapido. It's like
right,
that's how Arabic and Hebrew
right,
is so much similar. Aleph, aleph. Like
right,
you know, he was like, you learn one, you learn the other. Semitic languages all, for the most part, follow the same, tartil or the rules of pronunciation.
right.
So he was like, just he said, Fahiym, when you get out there, just, I remember the last day I was with him, he opened up his Qur'an to the 92nd surah, and he said, okay, read. And he sat there, he was smoking his little, cigar, whatever. This is back when I was in prison, they still was smoking,
Right,
that hadn't stopped yet, but it was
right,
about to stop,
right.
but he's smoking his little cigarette. He was like, go ahead and read. So I'm sitting over there and I'm reading. I read the whole surah. He was like, after I got through, he was like, you don't need me anymore. And I was like, what you need out of me? I don't need you no more. I need you still to teach me. Like, he was like, you pretty much got everything. He was like, all you got to do now is build your vocabulary.
Absolutely.
That's really it now. You know how to read it. You understand the letters, the rules of, you know what I'm saying? You know, and like I said, a lot of, for the most part, if it has the vowels on it, I can read it for the most part. But he did teach me some of the rules of, even if the vowels aren't there, certain words where
Right.
you'll see, like, yield or, you know, you know what I'm saying? But it's been some years, man. See, you said like what, a year now? How long you learned it? 7 years
7 or
ago?
8.
7 to 8 years? For me, it's been like 17 years. Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. So from time to time, I'll watch videos like, Arabic videos, just to kind of, keep up. And, I'll try to read here and there. I have my Quran still. I'll try to read and just to kind of, stay abreast. Because like they say, you don't use it, you lose it.
Right. With me, and I just said this recently, when I accepted the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
Mm,
I always believed in the Quran. I always believed, or at least I thought I did.
mm,
I thought I did.
mm,
And when I was able to read for myself,
mm,
then I began to study and discover things.
mm-hmm.
Like now I have a deeper appreciation for Mother Tanetta Muhammad
Right.
and
Yeah.
the number 19. Like,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
make you got to guard yourself from being condescending and appearing arrogant, because the more
Right.
you know, the more humility you exercise.
Right.
But it made me to realize that most of my peers, my brothers and sisters, they don't know. You don't really know what the number 19 mean. You don't
Yeah.
got no idea.
Yeah.
You just saying
Yeah.
that because you
Yeah.
heard her say it or you
Yeah.
heard the minister. You don't really. You don't
Right.
really know. You don't really like. It's a depth when you know Arabic. That
Yeah.
19
Yeah.
just jumped
Yeah.
out of that book
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
absent the Arabic. How can you really appreciate it?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't really appreciate that. If I tell you that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is
Mhm.
composed of 19 letters,
Mhm.
you can't bear witness to that if you don't know Arabic.
Right.
Because
Right.
if I write Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in English, that's not 19 letters.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's the transliteration of
Right.
it.
So that depth and that breadth, like I'm just so amazed by it. That's what
Mhm.
made me want to write the book,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Intellectual
Well,
Quran.
okay, that's the title of the book.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. And it's you waiting for it to be published right
No,
now?
I'm still writing it. I'm still writing
Oh,
it.
okay.
And
Okay.
because I'm still studying, I'm still learning. And
Right.
the stuff I've learned, I got so many notes.
Right.
The stuff I study, you study something and you take some notes
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
compile all your notes and like, I gotta write this into a book.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
to be able to articulate this and convey it to people who don't know Arabic
Right. Right. Let, let,
and
let
show.
me
Go ahead.
right. Now I was gonna say, let me ask you this. Okay, so you can read and translate the Arabic into English, so your vocabulary is pretty, you
Well, I don't
know,
know every word, but I can, if I read an ayat and the ayat
right,
consists of 10 words, I might
right.
know 7 words.
Okay, okay. Reason why I was asking that is because not only the Quran, but like other things can be translated as well. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with some Sufi texts. There's some Sufi texts that are out there right now that they've never been translated into, out of the Arabic, language. And there's certain sheikhs, Sheikh Amadou Bamba. There's, texts that he have that haven't been translated, into French, English, or any of the European languages. Even as you mentioned, Mother Tanetta Muhammad, she used to. What was the brother? Richard
Rash,
Khalifa, Dr.
Dr. Rashad.
Rashad Khalifa. Yeah, yeah. Who was a Sufi Muslim as well. Who, of course, with the number 19 and stuff like that. But he has texts as well. So that would be something, or that I would like to see someone like you or a brother, of that stature could do, translate some of those texts. I'd love to see what those brothers were, trying to convey, you know what I'm saying? Once it's in English, you know what I'm saying, where I can read it, you know. Have you studied any other, like, I know you mentioned Sunni Islam, but like Sufi Islam, any of the,
No, not no no. When I before I knew Arabic,
mhm.
I used to when I was in prison, I used to go to Jumu'ah with the Sunni Muslims. I did used to go to the Moore Science Temple to
Right, right, yeah,
just to be well rounded.
right, right,
I used followers of Dr. Malachi York,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and the Hebrew Israelites. When back when they had back then in 1994, there weren't a bunch of different branches of the Hebrew Israelites. When you
right.
say Hebrew Israelite, that meant you were under Ben
Either
Israel.
Ben Amin or Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yahweh
yeah,
ben Yahweh.
yeah.
And so
That was
when
it. Those
Ben
two.
Amin came into Atlanta Penitentiary from
Mm,
Dimona, Israel, I was his
mm.
security, him and Prince Asiel. I was his
Oh
security
wow,
twice. And
wow,
so I know him personally.
yeah,
And the FOI was his security. And
yeah,
he would
yeah.
come into the penitentiary and like I just left Chicago with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I
Yes,
told him
sir.
his followers in prison treat me so nice.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so
He
that
used to
kind
be
of
in the nation.
really.
Ben Amin, yeah, he was in the Nation
Okay.
of
Oh, I
Islam.
didn't know that. I knew
Yeah,
Yahweh Ben Yahweh was, but I didn't
yeah,
know
yeah, yeah. Yahweh Ben Yahweh, yeah, as well.
when Yahweh Ben Yahweh was in Lewisburg,
Mm.
my father was the minister. And my
Oh
father
wow.
put FOI security on Yahweh Ben Yahweh um, while he was in Lewisburg. So they had a
Mm,
strong relationship.
mm.
So
Wow. Okay. Yeah, man. It's like, definitely, man. It's a lot of powerful, texts out there that I would love to, get a hold to if it could ever be translated. that I would love to read. You know what I'm saying? You know.
One of the things I'm gonna deal with, it's a part of my book, a chapter called the mathematical theology.
Okay.
And in this mathematical theology, attempt to take the reader through a journey. And the Qur'an was composed. It took 23 years.
Right.
23 years, and there was no word count. There was nobody to edit it. There was no computers, and certain things that came down only 1,400 years later we are able to observe.
Right. Right.
And it shows the linguistic miracle of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. The longest surah in the Quran, Surah Baqarah, is 286 ayats.
Right.
Half of 286 is 143. 143 is the middle. And the word that is used in the middle is wasatin, which means middle. How is that possible? Like, how is that possible? And the Surah Baqarah came down,
wow,
like, in 10 years. And when as it was coming down, it was coming down concurrently with other surahs.
Right.
And the Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to say, this ayah goes here, and this ayah goes there, and this ayah goes here. So it was later that the middle word is middle.
Right.
How is that possible?
Wow.
The word month is mentioned in the Quran 12 times. It's 12 months in a year.
Yeah.
The word yom, day, is mentioned in the Quran 365 times. How is that possible? It's 365 days in a year.
Wow.
So these are like linguistic miracles that you can't just read and act like it's just a coincidence. And if you do say it is just a coincidence, then we're gonna bombard you with so many coincidences.
So many. It's too many. Yeah, for it to be a coincidence.
It's gonna make you take another look. And
So like your book, your literary is basically gonna be dealing with, as you mentioned, I read the thing you emailed me. You want to try to capture the intellectual as the believer is, intrigued or whatever. Same thing.
I want to read something to you. This out of my book. This chapter 6, the mathematical theology, and it says, if we look at the number of surahs in the Quran, there are 114 surahs. If we made a column that listed each surah, we would have 114 columns. If we created a second column listing the ayats in a particular surah, we would also have 114 columns. Do you follow me so far?
Wow.
So then I said, these surahs are split into two groups, even numbers and odd numbers. Because out of the 114, we have 57 even numbers and 57 odd numbers. Then if we take Surah 1, Surah Al-Fatiha, it has 7 ayats, right? So we say Surah 1 plus 7, we get what number? 8.
8. Yeah.
Okay. And then we say Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah number 2, with 286 ayats. So we 2 plus 286 is 288, right?
Yeah.
And if we Surah 3 has 200 ayats. So that's 3 plus 200, so that's 203, right? If we did that 114 times, and we separated the odd numbers and even numbers, the even numbers would give us 6,326, right? And the odd numbers would give us 6,555.
Wow.
Right? But that's not the punchline. That's not the deep part. Now, interesting, if we add the surahs all the way up to 114, Al-Fatiha being 1, Al-Baqarah being 2, Al-Imran being 3, our sum is 6,555, the exact number of odd numbers. If we add all the ayats, our sum is 6,236, the exact number of even numbers. How is that a coincidence? Now we can park the car. Now we can park the
Wow.
car and let's talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
This is, and the only absolute science in the universe is mathematics.
Mathematics. Yeah, that's the language.
So we're gonna park the car right there and let's talk about how this book is constructed.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. The construction of it alone is,
The
I'm
only
saying?
time that the number 19 is mentioned in the Quran
Mhm.
is in Surah Al-Mudathir, Surah 74.
Okay.
Surah 74,
Mhm.
Ayat 30.
Mhm.
Say that with me. No, I want you to say it with me. 74, Ayat 30.
70 Surah 74, Ayat 30.
And that's the only time that the number 19 is mentioned. Right?
In Surah 74, Ayat 30.
Now let me write that down so we can see. Can you see this board?
Yes, sir.
Let me erase this.
Surah 74, Ayat 30.
74, Ayat 30. Right?
Okay. Uh,
When did Master Farad Muhammad come?
mm.
July the 4th,
July the 4th,
1930.
30. Mm.
What's the probability of that? What's the probability of that though?
Wow.
74, this is July
July 4th, 1930.
1930.
Yeah.
And this is 74 is the last year that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did a Savior's Day.
Yeah. 1974 Saviors Day. Yeah.
Now,
Wow.
let's talk about it. Now, what's the probability of that happening?
Yeah. That's powerful. That's a Mother Tanetta boy. She used to be dropping some jewelry, some serious jewelry.
So this right here lets us know that there's more than what we understand. It's more than what meets the eye. Like this is
Yeah,
so deep.
yeah,
And this
yeah.
is the part that has me mesmerized on a linguistic tip. And this is
Right,
the part that
right.
I want to appeal to the
To the
intellectual part.
intellectual, right,
Yeah,
right.
this is
Yeah, yeah.
this
I see what you're saying now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because again, this kind of has nothing to do with religion or anything, or
right,
we're dealing with, you know, mathematics, the science of physics, the science of, numerology, you know what I
right.
mean? So yeah, yeah,
So what's the probability of that happening? And so this being so consistent and
mm,
so mathematical, it
mm,
made me just and we know that it came through the agency of a Arab who couldn't read and write.
right, 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 right.
And then now they have scholars dealing with the ring composition
Mm-hmm.
of the Quran, the structure of it. When they used to say that it didn't make sense and it was incoherent and it would just
Mm-hmm.
stop and change topics and when you
Right,
read it, it didn't make sense,
right,
right?
right.
And this was the Western criticism. But
Mm-hmm.
now you have to stop and look at it again
Mm-hmm.
in the depth of
Right,
it, in the symmetry of it. It just
right,
it just
right.
it's constructed like an entire universe.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's powerful, man.
And that made me feel like that strengthened my belief system. That made me a
Oh yeah,
believer on
oh
a
yeah.
whole different level.
On a whole nother level. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. I was gonna ask you real quick too. Before I kind of was getting kind of, what time was it? Yeah. Like with Sunni Muslims, I know you've probably debated with, several of them, especially that know Arabic or whatever. What, like, the 112 surah, you know, they like to use that as a defense, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. He begets not nor is he. How are you saying, man is God or Master Fard Muhammad is Allah? When he was born, he's gonna die. How do you,
Right. Well, when you deal with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad went into that. It's a book called The Birth of a Savior, and it was put out by the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Crow.
Right. Core, yeah.
In that book, he talked about the first God. He wasn't begat, and then the last God, he doesn't have any children, and he broke that down. But Kufuwan Ahad, there's none comparable unto him. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, and our Savior has arrived on page 36 and on page 56. He said, when we say Allah, that name covers all Muslims. All Muslims are Allah's, but one Allah, he has his own name, which is Farad, which means one we are obligated to obey. And so that's the Kufuwan Ahad. None is comparable to him. I don't really have those type of problems because in my interaction, I'm the teacher.
Right.
And so usually when a new, like I ain't gonna say a new Muslim, when a Sunni Muslim that don't really know me will say, they say, Ark in the Nation. They're like, for real? Man, what's up with Master Farad Muhammad? It's always another Muslim say, stop. He gonna crush you. Stop. He gonna crush you. Stop. So I don't really have those type of experiences. It's always a Sunni Muslim who was a student of mine that will stop them and he gonna kill you up. You ain't ready for him.
He's exactly. Like once they know a little bit, it's like leave him alone.
When you look at Arabic being based on a triliteral root system, let me show you something. I don't want to turn this into an Arabic class, but
I know that's one of the surahs they love using, that surah or either some of the verses, Ayatul Kursi, that's another one, the throne,
Arabic being based on a triliteral root system. Let me put Al-Fatiru. The originator. The originator. In Al-Fatih. If you look at the triliteral root, Fa, Ta, and Ra, it means to split, to break into pieces.
Okay.
And so the root system, triliteral root, gives us a hint of the inner meaning. So if Al-Fatih means the originator, what's the relationship between origination and something being split or broken into pieces? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the first God originated himself out of triple darkness when the atom split.
Right.
And that's what Al-Fatih root letters mean, to split.
The split.
So it's right and exact.
Okay.
How do you get around that? Because the Arabic is concise and precise. You can't get around it. So how does origination, what does splitting have to do with originating? That's a whole different conversation. Now I'm shaking your foundation. Now you got to rethink what you believe in.
Split, originate. That is, it bears witness to what the messenger said, as his, teaching of how the originator,
Absolutely, brother,
created self, from splitting the atom in darkness. Yes, sir. That's powerful. Wow.
So those.
Hey, I'm gonna have to get in your classes, man, for real, so I can brush up.
We definitely build. I definitely appreciate this. I think that believers shy away from Arabic because we still got this look. We look at Arabic as theirs.
Right.
Slave mentality. And I always hit people with, my uncle cannot talk his own language, and he does not know he's my uncle. You can't make that spiritual. You can't make that spiritual.
I don't know if you well, you probably, because it might have been a little bit late, but like with me, the problem that I experienced, like when I was in the Nation of Islam in prison, again, I was learning Arabic. This was someone who wasn't in the nation that was teaching me Arabic. He was actually a Shia Muslim.
Okay.
And you know, the brothers in the nation, like not all of them, but just a few of them was like, oh yeah, you know, the brother over there, there you go, want to learn the Arabic. Oh
Well,
yeah, I guess he's gonna be coming in study guide class trying to teach us
listen,
Arabic. You know,
that's
just
that
saying little slick stuff.
that's that cognitive dissonance that we
Yeah,
experience no matter what we're in.
right,
If you talk to a Christian
right,
you ask them if Jesus died on Good Friday and he
right,
rose up 3 days later, how did he get up on Sunday? And they experience that
right,
cognitive dissonance, right?
right, right,
If you ask you go each group got their own little cognitive dissonance.
right,
So with
right.
us,
Mhm.
because it's an area we don't know
Yeah,
and we're
yeah,
afraid to
yeah,
venture to. But
yeah.
once you do
Hmm.
venture there, you see
Yeah,
that that's
yeah,
where your power at
yeah,
in
yeah.
primary source text.
Right, right. Yeah, like I said, the brothers used to, you know, like, oh boy, you know, like if I'm say a word or something in Arabic, you know, because I'm
Brother,
pronouncing it, the, you know,
let me tell
because you
you
know,
this.
WWD Muhammad
Let me
was
tell you this. Let me
very,
tell you this, brother. I've
mm,
experienced that, but I don't experience it anymore because I don't tolerate Negro stuff.
right, yeah,
You
yeah,
can't be no
okay,
Negro around me if you got on
right,
the feds. You can't be no
right,
Negro with no kufi on. You can't be no
right,
Negro with no bow tie on. You can't be no Negro with no dashiki on. I'ma
right,
shoot it down.
right, right,
If you
right,
tell me, brother, why you saying Arabic? Then don't say
right,
Assalamu alaikum no more. Then
right,
don't
right,
say Allah, say God.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Don't say Assalamu alaikum, say peace.
yeah, yeah,
Don't say Inshallah. Don't say
yeah,
Mashallah. Don't say
yeah,
Jumu'ah, because them are
yeah,
Arabic words. Don't say you a Muslim. Say I'm a person that submit to God.
right,
I'm not gonna
exactly,
really let you pick and choose what Arabic is cool to
right,
say and what Arabic ain't cool to say. Either we gonna
yeah,
speak some Arabic or we not.
yeah,
But you ain't ready to pick and choose. If you shoot my Arabic down, then I don't want to hear no
right,
Allah. I don't want to hear no
right,
Assalamu alaikum.
right,
That's
right,
a game
right.
changer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For real. You know what I'm saying? Let's stop all together.
Right.
We
And
gonna stop.
or just acknowledge that you're experiencing cognitive dissonance because you're in
Yeah.
an arena that you're not the leader in, you're not the teacher
Right,
in.
right,
And so you got to be
right,
in student mode and you uncomfortable in student
right,
mode. But the
right,
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, all of us are students.
right, right. Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. It's like some of those brothers that I was, you know, locked up with back then and that I was in the nation with. I remember when, you know, the minister had brothers, you know, studying Dianetics and stuff like that, because that happened like after I was already out of prison, home by then. I used to always say to myself, I wonder, you know, like, you know, what did they think about that? You know, and the reason why, again, is because not just the Arabic, but if they see me reading a book on the Hebrew, you know, or Buddhist, you know, because one thing about me, like I said, you know, and that's one thing that I can say, you know, as being a 5%er, you know, with the 5%ers, you know, we try to study it all. You know, the
Right.
knowledge degree and the student enrollment, who's the original man, that right there qualifies you to learn everything from knowledge from the cradle to the grave. If you call yourself God of the universe, you're supposed to be learning from the cradle to the grave. So brothers would always see me reading different stuff and be, you know, I guess he gonna bring down study guide class and try to get us learning about Sufi Islam next or whatever. So when the brother Minister Farrakhan had brothers studying Dianetics, like they never like I'm just sitting here thinking like I could only imagine if they would have saw me reading something like Dianetics by a white guy, L. Ron Hubbard, they would have been like,
Brother,
oh no.
guess what I taught my first
But when the
Arabic
minister
class
said
at?
to do it, I'm just like, I wonder what was those brothers' response like, you know.
Guess where I first taught my first Arabic class at?
Where
The L. Ron Hubbard House in Washington, D.C.
the L. Ron Hubbard house.
They got a house, you know, they got the Church of Scientology,
Right.
then they got the actual house
Oh,
in
okay. I didn't
D.C.
know that. I didn't know that.
I used to teach Arabic at the L. Ron Hubbard House. Like if
Wow.
you go in the L. Ron Hubbard House right now and
Yeah.
say, Brother Elwood, that's the Arabic teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I was studying Dianetics,
Yeah.
like there's a world. We say Allah is Rabbil Alameen, the Lord of all the worlds.
Right.
All the worlds. What does that mean? What does all the worlds mean?
That means on every level of existence. I mean, it's,
The black man is the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe.
mm-hmm.
What does God of the universe mean?
On all levels.
So
Yeah.
when I was studying Dianetics, because and I had the Black Studies class,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, like I said, all of the black activists in DC that's known spoke
Mm-hmm.
at my class. Malik Zulu Shabazz,
Okay.
the Irritated Genie, he spoke at my class
Okay.
3 times. Malik spoke at my class like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
PLM, Pan African Liberation Movement, they spoke at my class. Imhotep
Okay.
Fatu, like
Okay.
everybody in DC was at my class,
Yeah.
and so I lost my point, but I lost what I was about to say because I
Yeah.
was trying to remember all of the people who spoke. But
Right.
everybody in DC pretty much spoke at the Black Studies class because that was my goal to kind of unify everybody. I remember
Right.
we did a unity meeting, and
Right.
I went to every organization: the Malcolm X
Mm-hmm.
grassroots movement, the National
Okay.
Black United Front. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Salim Adolfo spoke at my class. He was the national vice chair of
Okay.
the National Black United Front. He was under Bob Dr. Conrad Worrell,
Okay.
um,
Yeah. Conoroy. Yeah.
uh, Kofi Taharka,
Okay.
like all of the brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Silky Slim out of Louisiana, he
Mm-hmm.
spoke at my class,
Mm-hmm.
and we did a unity meeting one day. I got my thought back. I went
Mm-hmm.
to all of the leaders of the
Mm-hmm.
organizations,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned this from Minister Farrakhan. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
his way of unifying, he probably didn't say these words, but these are the words
Right.
Brother Edward said. I
Right.
went to all of the heads and
Uh-huh.
told them, listen, bro, we need your help.
Right.
Can't nobody do it like you.
Yeah.
Man, don't know, you know they don't know what they doing.
Yeah.
Look how y'all moving. We need y'all
Yeah.
assistance and expertise. Won't you
Yeah.
come and speak for 15 minutes at the Black Studies class? We trying to get these Negroes together. You know they ain't trying to come together. You the only one. You the best one. You the king with the crown. I
Yeah.
told 40 leaders the exact same thing.
Wow. All 40 of them came?
All 40, the UNIA, what's the brother name? What's the leader of the
UNIA?
UNIA?
Marcus Garvey?
Marcus Garvey movement. Not, I'm talking about the president leader in DC.
Oh, I don't even know. I don't know.
Senghor Baye spoke in my class.
Oh,
When
okay.
all of them came to the class,
I heard
Minister
that name
Kadir,
before.
Minister Kadir said, man, I ain't seen some of these people since the Million Man March. How you get all of them in the room together? I said, I told all y'all the same thing.
Wow.
Nothing moves a black man like his ego.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We need your expertise. I'm
Yeah,
cool with you being the leader. I ain't got no problem with none of that. I'm just trying to
right.
get results of getting
Yeah,
together, unifying,
right,
moving forward. I told all of them the exact same.
right.
Malik Zulu Shabazz, the new
Yeah.
Black Panther, all of them was in there under
Wow.
one umbrella.
That's crazy. What
And
year this was? This was what year?
I would have to go on my Facebook page. I got pictures on my Facebook page from that
Okay.
meeting. I would have to
Okay.
go on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
Then I joined the National Black United Front because
Mm-hmm.
I saw it as a tool
Mm-hmm.
to make the black nationalists. But it's like no matter what we try to make division, when division don't exist, we'll find a
Right.
reason not to be unified. We'll find a reason not to be
Yeah.
unified.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the
Man, they
way.
with that
Okay.
Muslim stuff. I ain't know with that Muslim stuff. So I had the Black Studies class. All right, you could be a black nationalist, a pan-Africanist, a revolutionary, as long as you black. We on
Yeah.
black time in here.
Yeah.
We ain't
Yeah.
with that Islam, the Arab slave
They they
trade.
they
Like
they, they just separate
they gonna
Islam from Africa. Like that's not an African
they gonna
religion.
find a
That's,
reason,
you know.
brother, to be divided. Because
Yeah.
self-hatred is the
Yeah.
order of the day among black people. And we're gonna
That's.
find no matter what you claim, no
Mm-hmm.
matter you say you can find a brother believing the same thing you believing the same God and the same messenger. You say he ain't with Farrakhan. You're
He's
gonna
still
find
gonna find something.
some reason not to be unified. And I
Yeah.
understand that black people in America, no matter what you say you believe in, you
Mhm.
follow the sunnah of Willie Lynch.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah. 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 You know. Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it's definitely a job. Like Master Fard Muhammad told the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he had the hardest job of any man, that ever lived, and that mission kind of falls on us as his students, as Muslim gods, as his students. But when we go out there trying to fish for people, we see what it is. You know, we you know, it's not easy.
The minister, brother, is the example. Because the minister, you could
Yeah,
talk about the minister gonna love you, the minister gonna embrace you, the minister gonna, his spirit is gonna overwhelm you. You got to
yeah,
be a special type of Negro. You got to be a special type of Negro to
yeah,
find fault in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You got to be a special type of Negro.
yeah,
You better not come at me on this black tip talking
yeah,
against Minister Farrakhan, because that
oh,
going, like I told the irritated genie, brother, I know you never listened to the minister. I
yeah,
know you've never listened to him.
yeah,
You take sound bites and clips and stuff on YouTube that's 3 minutes and twist it
hmm
and with no
hmm
context. You
yeah,
can't
yeah,
listen to the minister, brother.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you say
yeah.
that the minister is, listen to this right here. Just
hmm
consider this. If you say the minister support the homosexual movement, right?
hmm hmm
This is your logic. You say the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan supports homosexuality, right?
hmm
This is your
hmm
logic.
right.
But the only organization
hmm
in Black America, the
hmm
only organization in Black America where you can't have no girlfriend
hmm
or no boyfriend, you gotta get married.
hmm
You gotta get
hmm
married. You gotta
hmm
get married. You can have a girlfriend in the church house. You can have a
yeah,
girlfriend in the NAACP. You can have a
yeah.
girlfriend in all of the organizations. You can't have no girlfriend in the nation. They're gonna put you out
hmm
because that destroyed Black families.
That's right. Yeah.
So the only organization that strengthens the Black family is the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
So I guess he was basing his assumption or whatever off of what a picture he saw because he saw the minister. Because minister not gonna take pictures with anybody.
No,
Who?
the minister said that he liked Medea, the character Medea,
Oh,
and because he was talking about, the minister was talking about an old elderly Black woman with wisdom. That's what he meant.
right,
But
right,
you're gonna take that out of context and say Tyler Perry dressing up in drag. That ain't what the minister meant, and you know that's not what he meant.
right, 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 right.
Because the first person you heard attacking the homosexual images of Hollywood was the Honorable
Mhm.
Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah,
So how you
yeah,
gonna twist his word and then try to use them against him?
exactly,
So
exactly. That's crazy. But yeah, brother, man, definitely, man. We got to get back together and build again. Like I said, when we get on again, I'll probably get Brother Ben to hop on with us,
okay,
and you know what I'm saying. You know, we can have
this is
a nice
beautiful,
little,
and I
yeah.
apologize for being so talkative and loquacious,
Oh,
brother.
nah. You know, like I said, you know, should we just dialoguing, man? You know,
Okay,
like I said, we got a lot in common, though. You know, as far as you know, like our you know, like I started off by saying, our journeys and stuff. You know, with different groups that we studied with and stuff like that, and then learning Arabic. I mean, you know, definitely, man. You know, our paths are very similar, but at the end of the day, the goal is, you know,
yeah, exact same, yeah. Freedom,
yeah.
justice, and equality, Black man.
That's it. That's it. That's it. So yeah, brother, it was good building with you, man. I'm gonna definitely be
Likewise,
keeping in contact, man. You know,
I got you
and
locked in.
if anything, like next week, you know, if you're not doing nothing next
Okay,
week, we can probably link up or whatever.
okay.
You know? So,
So when I get off, I gotta go make my prayer, cause
yeah,
I've been making all 5 of my prayers
yes, sir.
since Ramadan. I'm trying to. I said I'm gonna try to keep this thing going till I
Yes,
die.
sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm
Yes,
trying
sir.
to try to keep this thing going. I've been feeling good.
Yes, sir.
I made a deal. I made a deal. I said, Allah, you do this for me, I'm gonna do this for you. And life been working kind of good, and so I'm trying
Yeah.
to keep my end of the bargain, not fall short
Yeah,
of it.
that's it. That's it. All we got to do is just live according to the universal laws,
Right.
you know. Or as Muslims, we say, do the will of Allah.
That's
You
right.
know, that's it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, brother, definitely, man. Let me go. So, you
Okay.
know, I'll leave you as I, you know, came and the greeting words of peace, and I'll definitely be getting back in contact with you again.
Peace.
You know, so said in Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum,
Wa
brother.
alaikum salam. Peace.
Peace.